7:30 in the morning, and this is the darkest it's going to be. By the time we have our next meeting, it'll start being lighter, because I think today is the low.
Close to the longest.
Yeah, or at least it's the darkest morning, and all I know is it's very dark.
Close enough.
Close enough.
And they say it.
Okay,
That's all we argue about.
there you go. Let the record show that the council members are here and obviously engaged this morning. Somebody's been out there on their coffee this morning. Couple of things. We have minutes in front of you from December 9th. And do they meet with your approval? Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Visitor and public comment. Okay, with the rush to the microphone, we'll continue to move forward. Council members, we're going to rearrange the agenda at the request of staff this morning. We're going to move the presentation of the audit report to after our executive session, because we have the auditors coming from a distance. And they will come. Is that making 3 wise men? Yes. Okay.
Not necessarily.
So we'll do that. Under reports, let me just let you know that about a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of being part of a new elected officials training. I helped teach a class at Portland State University run by the Hatfield School of Government. It was a real joy, and included in one of the, there were 50-some people from around the state, including a gentleman from Crestwell. And he said he'd been kind of, well, you should think about this and think about that. People, and then he said, yeah. And then he said, well, why don't you run for council? And he said, well, I'm trying to get somebody else he could. So I said, well, okay, I'll do it myself. Well, the significant part, he was there taking his new elected official training. He's 91 years old, and a World War II combat aviator, retired as a colonel. And so, yeah, and so, wonderful gentleman. I invited him to come visit our airport, and he said he'd fly in. So anyway, also had the pleasure of recently hosting mayors from Hope, Marion, and Yamhill County, and at my home for a Mayor's Coalition event. We've been doing that for a number of years, and it was wonderful. I also had the pleasure, along with several other council members, of going to the county's public safety hearing that they had last Wednesday, last week, at the library. Yeah, about the public safety levy. There were approximately 50 people there, and this was their first of 9 hearings. So it was an interesting time. That's all I have. I'm going to need a little help on the next one, on the food basket program, and I'm not sure who's going to help me a little bit on reporting that. David, could you help me with that report, or Chief Mason? Yeah, Chief, because you had a bigger hand in that, and I feel,
Well, I should bring Kevin up with me.
there you go, I feel ill-prepared to do this, because this is a wonderful thing.
If what you're referring to is the holiday food baskets, the city this year took a stand and said we were going to sponsor 20 of those baskets, which we were told would be about $50 monetarily if you were to go out and buy what it needs to have to be a good, complete food basket. And these baskets were going to be dispersed to people in our community that needed extra food for the holidays. If you're not aware, we have a really good clearinghouse here where all of the people that have need get on the same list and the same program. And that way we get everyone served instead of some people getting overserved and some people getting underserved. Well, our $1,000 goal, we met monetarily and exceeded. And our food goal, we really got so much food that we didn't need the $1,000 that we set out to get in the beginning. So we ended up giving the program a lot of extra money, and our 20 families ended up with their food box, which was what they were supposed to have. Plus, we were able to grab an extra box for each family and fill it with food, because that's how much food we had left down there when we were building the boxes. So great turnout from staff, and Kevin, our intern, was instrumental in it as well, and brought some helpers to help set the boxes up and deliver them. So it went really well. Great response from staff afterwards. I got emails saying how it was enlightening to them and their families to go out and do it. They had never done anything like that before. So,
Is this the Christmas project?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Tracy.
That's correct. Tracy had put out the notice that she was in need of more box sponsors. And the police department has some staff that have always done it through another local organization. And we thought that'd be great if the city as a whole could do it. And so the city all said, yeah, we think that'd be great. So it was all encompassing, the whole city staff was involved.
Well, on behalf of the council, I want to say congratulations to you and through you to all the staff that helped and make things better for some folks.
We're hoping to do it again next year.
Thanks so much, appreciate that. Thank you. Council liaison reports.
Okay, well, this library board, my key witness is missing. But since the last report, the board has met regularly and a few changes have been accomplished. Of course, the most significant is the integrated library system software, which just went online last week. And I had planned, maybe it'll be later, and if she gets here later, Bobby gets here, a little demonstration of the new system of cataloging and being able to get it and everything. Because it's just completely changed and a lot easier. One of the significant parts that I enjoy is that with ebooks now, you don't have to go through a third party, that library to go, or you can go straight to our cataloging and download ebooks. So it's a great system. The library board meets once a month, and so many goals and objectives are brought out by Robin. I don't know how she and her staff do everything that they do, but our community is lucky to have Robin and her staff, and they now just added another half person, I think, to the staff. So we have bilingual people working there on a daily basis. It's really a wonderful program. But unfortunately, I can't demonstrate to you yet. But if Robin comes in, you'll interrupt everything, right?
I'm sure we'll find out.
That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Museum board, Dana.
Okay, I've been missing the meetings because the meetings are at 3 o'clock, and then I get up at 5. But I have some notes. And Andrea and Peggy attended a history conference at the Grand Blanc Museum on November 14th, and it was fascinating. The Heritage Museum Society fundraising dinner on November 15th had about 30 guests and raised about $1,700. Thanks to everybody. Winter newsletter has been printed and mailed out. Thanks to and Amy Outreach for doing it. And then the museum will, the museum held a holiday open house on Saturday, December 13th from 1 to 5. And the event will offer refreshments and a chance to do some Christmas shopping with items from the gift shop. The board is interested in pursuing a book talk by the authors of Morgan's Main Street, US 99 in March. More details later. That's about it. Short meeting in December.
Okay. Thank you so much, appreciate that. Traffic safety.
Well, I actually don't have much to report. Our regular scheduled meeting was supposed to be last week, and we ended up canceling it. So our next meeting is February, is that right? I believe third week of February, Wednesday, so that's all I have.
All right. Under reports, Morning.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council. To quote a report given at your first council meeting this month, Minnet has reached a point of measurable stability. Indeed, we have achieved a stable baseline from which we can grow without the complications we have spent the last 16 months attempting to overcome. If you look back over a timeline starting in September of 2013 and running until today, you would see measurable growth. You would also see a significant and dramatic decrease in expenses. One of my first assignments was to get expenses under control. On that hypothetical timeline, November 2013 weighed in with $1.2 million in expenses year to date. This year, expenses in November were at approximately $800,000. This is a sizable downward shift. First, from this platform of stability, Minnet enters 2015 with the goals of acquiring our rightful market share. To this end, there's a three-dimensional plan. First, Minnet is substantially reorganizing the sales and CSR departments to maximize efficiency and certainty output. Second, we are intensifying our use of all available social media outlets. Excuse me. Third, Minnet will assist Monmouth and Independence in seeing our gig capacity the way the outside world sees us. We fear your constituents and our customers have become complacent to a degree in their view of Minnet. The plodding regularity of a monthly bill has been allowed to overtake the pride we should have in what these two cities have built. In another annual report, a consultant has shared with us that Monmouth and Independence appear to have lost focus on Minnet as a community jewel. It will take aggressive collaboration between Minnet and the two cities to recapture the rightful sense of technology superiority, to get everyone thinking again about the capacity present now in this joint creation. Because of the existence of Minnet and the hard work of this city's community development department, a new call center will bring 100 jobs to Independence with expectations of 200 more as the business grows. My personal congratulations to you, Sean. Aggressive collaboration is mindful collaboration and focused cooperation. Not so long ago, this council asked me how they could help Minnet fulfill its mission. Today, here, I confirm that Minnet intends to pursue collaboration, to find means of cooperation, and to be a full cross-community player. Minnet invites this council to do the same. Congratulate your neighbors on their vision and foresight in building Minnet. Be vocal about your pride in Minnet and how it will support future technologies and community growth. I'd even go so far as to say high five someone from Monmouth and say, we did good. Thank you very much.
Any questions for the presenter? Thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time to come in this morning. Mr. Klein.
Morning. Great cheer, congratulations. Give you another cover. It's pre-Christmas time. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The microphone seems to be much better.
We're doing a little bit of, in this partner, we're doing a temporary fix today. Jason tells me this is what's called a Band-Aid link. I'm not sure what that is, but it seems to be working a little better. But we are working to get this sound system so that it works a little better, so you can hear, the audience can hear. So that's in progress. That should help a little. I just want to reiterate the food baskets. It was fun for me because I got to go and just be told what to do. So that's always a great thing. But there was a heck of a turnout. There was a lot of kids, a lot of energy. We were part and parcel of the whole thing. Kevin and Sergeant Manuelos, great job organizing. There's just a great turnout from staff, primarily the police department and their families. So it's just really fun. And it was a big deal. Anyway, let's see. see, switching up on you a little bit, the River Place Apartments, just to let you know, that in case you haven't seen it, the commercial building is taking root and going vertical. As of yesterday, the sides were at least being propped up, so it's moving quickly. Renters are already in. There's already folks living in that construction zone, and that project as ever is moving along very, very quickly. So we're real pleased with what's going on there. So if weather breaks at some point in time, we may even see the road head on going down out of the boat ramp sometime in the next couple of months. Right? Yep. Mike's making the same commitment I'm making. So anyway, that's moving along. Along with the mayor, I had the pleasure of attending the operating levy meeting, and it was an interesting effort. There's going to be quite a few more to come. So I think we've got a good 9 totals. Is that right, Mayor? Yeah. We had a good parks master plan meeting. Unveiled a little bit some of the draft thinking that is going on the parks. And, we received a supplemental follow-up on the river trail that was really interesting, so we're going to get a good look at that. I'm not sure when the unveiling is scheduled in the council.
It's going to be a little while.
So there's going to be a little bit of quite a bit of back and forth work, but if you have an interest, you're certainly welcome to come to the parks meeting. It's a legislative matter, so there's no issues of outside conversations. Regional Solutions, you mentioned that in there, sorry. So they have their meeting as well. There's certainly still a focus on transloading facilities, rail facilities in the county. So far, the focus remains on Dallas for their project. Nobody will stay in that location they allocated, whereas the ODOT money will stay with our developers to the extent that they pursue their development in independence. And we had an opportunity to meet with them yesterday as well, along with the Regional Solutions team on site at the Oregon Alders location. So we expect to be seeing shortly an application. And I think I will be meeting with them today after this meeting. So that project continues to move along, and it'd be a nice, if it works out, a nice adaptive reuse of that location. So putting it to work. Sean and I met with our wine group again. They're getting pretty excited about what is going on with the Valley Concrete site. We're going to put together some material for them to help us market a couple of strategic locations on the site and for further development. So they were very excited. So that was a good meeting as well. Talk about speaker system. So we have a tentative date. We haven't had a chance to talk with you some more about this, but the Art in the City, Mayor's Art show. Looking at the third Saturday in April. I know your calendar was there. It was going to be hard to pin down things.
Third Saturday in April sounds as good as, it's a good Saturday.
Good as anything? Okay. Well, at least for now, we are the third almost annual Art in the City events. It's been 4 years of this year, but it's almost the third annual almost. April 18th, and that will, we're looking at an art show, jury show, collaborative effort with art, ACAC, the Action Creek Art Center, as well as the River Gallery. We'll be working together this event to create this one this year, so it should be coming in front of that. More details to come on that. And then, let's see, Don shared with you some of the news that we've been talking about for some time. The call center is now signed release. They are scheduled to start their ticket. And once they occupancy January 1st, I'm sure that means there'll be a lot of work in that location January 1st. Getting it ready for people to take seats, I'm sure will take a little longer. We are still working with the Polk County communities on the expanded e-commerce zone, so that's still yet to be finalized, but the first rent payments been received, leases been signed. So that's moving along. The mayor and Sean both have an opportunity to interview on that. We are getting out press releases. I think that's a pretty big deal. Initially they'll go in with 50 jobs, but that will hopefully quickly expand to 300. There are other locations they expand fairly quickly to their max occupancy. I'm not sure what would be a hold up here. food in that as well. So that's the goal, get to 300 jobs in that location. So that's quite a big impact on the job market here.
I know you had some numbers about what that does, what the initial payroll does, and what that involves. Would you share some of it?
Share that with you. Yeah, we're looking at, if you look at just 50 jobs, we're looking at $1 million in payroll that will have an opportunity to spend through the economy, and it's built out of 300. You're looking at upwards $6 million in at least in payroll that'll be added to the local economy. There's going to be somewhere between a $750,000 and $1 million investment in the site, getting it ready for occupancy. So there's a lot, that it's quite the benefit, quite a great deal for us. And certainly it refills a vacant site before it even gets vacant, which is always nice. You hate to see vacant storefronts being avoided. So it's just an all-around really nice deal. They were able to maximize the parking that exists in the site. There'll be a little bit of additional parking out rear, but by and large, they'll be taking up the parking in the front, and the businesses at that location should do quite well from the continuous traffic. There's just continuous juggling of shifts at this place. There's no really, 1 to 8 to 5 and 5 to whatever. It's sort of juggles through the day. So there'll be continuous movement of people and purchasing power, if you will.
So it'll be a 24/7 operation?
I don't know if it'll be 24/7 or not.
He's not sure, they do have some 24/7 operations, but he's not sure if this one would be or not. It would, if not 24/7, it might be 20, but it'll be most of the day, if not all the day.
Probably read about it in the paper tomorrow.
So I received could have been one. So I'll just move on. This is my last time. I received my Christmas present in the form of a notice from the police department that they're ready to start negotiating their collective bargaining agreement. So I'm off to the holidays with that plan fund. So
Questions for management? Okay, thank you very much. Mason, I think you have the next item.
excuse me, I should say the police association, not the police department.
We'll negotiate if you'd like us to. So I have the honor today of speaking to you in recognition of Diane Risen, who has been with the city for 25 years this month. I wrote a few things down that I'd like to share with you about Diane's appointment. So when I started here, first of all, when I started here, it feels like a long time ago, and Diane was already a seasoned employee who took me under her wing. We shared an office for a while in one of the assignments that I got, and that just gives me an idea of how long this has been. Diane started working here officially in the 80s. It was late in the 80s, but it was the 80s. She had the title of police records clerk. In her first 6-month evaluation, even in the 80s, the supervisor that did it recommended that she get more computer training to increase her job performance. And that couldn't have turned out to be more true. As Diane continued to work here, her abilities and our needs had her progress from that first job to one of office manager to one today of administrative staff. Diane is known throughout the county as a leader in her field. I went through her personnel file when I got the job of chief, and I found all kinds of letters from other agencies in this county that are thanking her for coming and helping with training their people and hiring their people. Diane's also known statewide for her work with LEDS, and she assists with that training conference every year as well. About 8 years ago, Diane ended up getting an entirely new workload that didn't have anything to do with her job previously, and that was one of evidence management. And since that time, aside from managing the office that we have at the front here, she is in charge of our evidence room, all incoming and outgoing, tracking it, having audits done. That all falls on Diane's shoulders as well. So, a few fun facts, just what it looks like to have been here for 25 years. When Diane started here, we used typewriters and even handwrote reports. Now we have portable computers in our cars and everything is electronic. It really shows you how that computer request from that supervisor in the 80s turned out to be true, and that will continue with the rest of these. When Diane started here, we had cutting edge technology that we had one pager that we issued to our on-call sergeant so that they could be contacted after hours, and now I would say even her grandkids have cell phones. What's that? Oh, when Diane started here, we had drawers and drawers of photographs. We call them booking files. So anytime someone got arrested, they had a picture taken, and those were categorized by height and weight, so we could pull photos of similar-looking people out. Now we have everything electronic. All the photos are electronic, and we have access to millions of photographs of people that have been booked statewide. When Diane started here, one of my favorite ones, we had an answering machine in the front office that she recorded the voice onto, saying you've reached the police department, please leave a message. And then every morning, Diane would have to listen to all the messages and transcribe those messages onto carbon paper, remember those, message slips, and then put them in the office to be returned later. Now our messages are electronic, and you get an email to your phone that has that as an electronic file attached to it. When Diane started in the early 90s, it wasn't actually right when she started, but in the early 90s we had one patrol car that had a VHS camera mounted on the dashboard, and we used that to record DUI stops. It was Diane's job to get that video somehow from a compact VHS to a VHS and then used in court trials. Now, all of those are electronic. She still has to manage how it gets to the DA's office and to the court, but again, completely different than when she started. When Diane started here, our computer backup system was a tape drive, and every week Diane would take the tape home and exchange it for a different tape that she kept at her house in case we had some kind of catastrophic failure here. She would still have all of our files on a tape at her house. Now, of course, that's backed up real time to my net. And lastly, the best one I think is now that Diane's been here as long as she has, and since our last hiring, she's able to look at our new employee and say, I have been working here since before you were born. We have a gift for Diane, which she'll want to open later, from the police department. And I just want to thank you for all of your service. It's been great having you, and we don't want to see you go.
You get the obligatory plaque, but I just want to thank you on behalf of the city, the council, everybody. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and I hope you're with us a long, long time. And here you go. Is there a picture being taken here?
Oh, I don't know. We can.
Good plan. The obligatory picture. Merry Christmas.
Wait, hold on.
Thanks. Okay. We're going to change what we were going to do. Thank you, everybody. Our auditor has arrived. Good morning. And so we're going to put her back up right now under new business. And so, good morning and welcome to the Independent City Council.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tammy Austin, and I am a partner at Marine & Company, and I am in charge of the audit for the City of Independence, and I'm here to present the results of our audit. And so we have completed the audit of the financial statements, and our reports right now are in a final draft form, and we will finalize them once Gloria is back in town, has approved them, and then she has to sign a letter, and then we can issue them. So our reports will contain a unmodified opinion, and an unmodified opinion means that it's not modified for any particular cause, so it's considered a, quote, clean opinion. So it's what you want. It's what you want to hear. So there are some required communications that, as your auditor, I'm required to communicate to you. And so I'm happy to say there were no restrictions on the scope of our audit. There were no disagreements with management, and there were no difficulties that we encountered during the audit. And if there was anything that happened like that, I would be required to communicate that to you. We were given full access to all of city staff and all financial information. And one of the exciting things about this year is that this year the city changed their basis of accounting. And so in prior years, your financial statements were presented on a modified cash basis. And a modified cash basis is basically not giving you the full picture of what the city's assets, liabilities, future obligations are. The modified basis of cash is accepted by the state of Oregon as an acceptable basis to present your financial statements. So the financial statements were always in compliance with the state of Oregon. But this year they've been changed to the GAAP basis, and GAAP means generally accepted accounting principles. So now your statements are presented on that basis. And so what that means is it's a national basis that's recognized as basically generally accepted. And so in addition to now the state accepting it, now the Government Finance Officers Association will accept your financial statements. And so next year we plan to present those to the Government Finance Office Association for the Certificate of Excellence. And then in addition to being on the GAAP basis, there's also a lot of lending institutions or banks that would want you, if they were going to lend you money, they would want those GAAP-based financial statements versus modified cash. And so with that, when you look at these financial statements, you're going to see that some of your funds now have negative fund balances. And the reason why they have that is because your fund will now all be reporting the interfund loans. So you will be able to see a complete picture of each fund and the interfund loan. And for budgetary purposes, a fund can loan another fund money and they can spend it. So even though the fund may have a negative fund balance, if you go and look at the budgetary basis, it won't be negative. So for budgetary purposes, a fund can spend money that another fund is giving them. So does anybody have any questions about that? I know.
We okay? Keep rolling.
Okay, well, you know, the basis of accounting is confusing to a lot of people, so I don't want to confuse you. So in addition to changing the basis of accounting, one of the things that we do is we look at management's judgment and their accounting estimates, and we found them appropriate in circumstances. And the estimates in the financial statements include depreciation, a calculation of compensated absence payable, which would be vacation payable, and also an allowance for doubtful accounts. And then in addition to a financial audit, we also do a compliance audit. And so Oregon revised statutes require that we look at various things to ensure that the city is in compliance with those. And the things that we look at is compliance with collateral, indebtedness, Oregon budget law, insurance and fidelity bonds, programs funded from outside sources, which would be grants, highway funds, investments, and public contracts and purchasing. And there were no findings other than there are a couple of budget violations, which would be basically not budget violations, but the budget was overextended, and those will be presented in the financial report. And one of the reasons a couple of these things happened was because the budget was done on the cash basis, and then we adjusted the financial statements to the accrual basis. So when you're having your budget on a cash basis, basically you don't have to overspend, you just don't pay it. Pay it next year. This year, now that you're on the GAAP basis, it doesn't matter whether it's been paid or not. If the expense has been incurred, we recognize it as an expense. And so that resulted in a a couple of over expenditures, and when you see the report, I'm sure that Laura will be more than happy to explain or David, what happened there, but they're pretty minor. And so basically, that's my report. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. We'll be getting you the financial statement soon, and you're more than welcome to ask me a question anytime you have one. I think you guys all have my contact information. I know that at the start of the audit, we sent a letter to you that gave you the opportunity to let me know if you had any concerns or any areas that you wanted me to look at. So we did take those into account, and thank you for returning them to me. It's an important part of the audit because I am working for you. So does anybody have any questions?
Questions for the presenter? Thank you for taking the time to come in this morning.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with the city, and I'm really excited for next year when we are working for even improving what we did this year and getting that certificate and hanging it on the wall and being really proud of your financial statement. So thank you.
Great, appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go into the executive session portion, and then we'll come back and we have an action item I anticipate, and does that sound okay with everybody? I'm going to just use the,
Okay.
and city council will allow me the executive session to negotiate real property transactions like that in executive session. Held pursuant to ORS 1926602E, which allows the council to meet executive session representatives. The news media designated staff should be allowed to attend the executive session representatives here specifically directed not to report any deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session may be announced and no decision to be made in executive session. This time the council adjourned the conference room for the regular executive session. Once the executive session adjourned, return to open session in the council chambers. Without objection, we'll head back to the conference room.